Alright gamers, and welcome to my latest video. This time I'm going to be talking about games based on cartoons on the PlayStation 1. Obviously, when I was a kid, cartoons were a massive part of my life. Isn't that the same for everyone? Some of my favourites didn't actually get games on the PlayStation 1, like Count Duckula and Danger Mouse, probably because they are much older. But there are a few decent ones and a few bad ones. I'm going to be covering 4 games from different cartoon genres, so let's get to it. First off, let's take a look at Rugrats. The Rugrats was one of my favourite shows as a kid. I used to love it when the iconic music would start up and the gang would embark on their latest adventure. In my eyes as a kid, Tommy Pickles was one of the coolest characters, and when I found out that there were video games based on the show, I was super excited. Like a vulture who finds a lost baby elephant in the desert. The first game I played based on Rugrats was Search for Reptar. It was developed by THQ and was definitely made for kids. Based on the fantastic, yes, I'm 34 and I do consider it fantastic, Nickelodeon cartoon, you take control of Tommy Pickles and Chucky Finster. Tommy has lost 11 pieces from his 12-piece Reptar puzzle, and the aim of the game is to retrieve the missing pieces. Kinda obvious really, a puzzle with one piece is about as useful as a condom machine in the Vatican. The game is essentially a 3D platformer, but it does provide you with quite a bit of variety. There is a mini golf section, a section where the two best friends ride animals together, as well as other set pieces that you don't always see in 3D platformers. There's even a small section where you get to play as the family dog, Spike. You do, however, spend most of the game doing standard 3D platforming. I say standard, but I'm perhaps being a little harsh. The game is solid and works exactly how you might expect it to. The controls are tight and the presentation is fantastic. You have to remember that this game was aimed at kids. If you're going into it expecting a game on the levels of Metal Gear Solid, then you might want to up your medication doses. The camera can be a hindrance. Not a hindrance like going around a friend's house to play some multiplayer action and being handed a crap third-party controller, but crap cameras were pretty much standard in a lot of games at the time. Shoddy cameras and 3D PS1 games kinda go hand in hand, only a few games managed to perfect the formula. The music is great and the voiceover work, which was supplied by the actual actors from the cartoon, is flawless. The game received mixed reviews on release, edging on the favourable. Most publications picked up on the dodgy camera and somewhat repetitive gameplay, but also stated that kids would more than likely enjoy the game. In the end, it managed to become one of the best-selling games on the PS1, passing 1.5 million units sold. Overall, I would say give this game a go. If you enjoyed Rugrats as a kid, it might inject you with a huge hit of nostalgia, because it did for me. Next up is a game based on a totally different cartoon, but a cartoon nonetheless. South Park. South Park video games have been a mixed bunch over the years. We've seen some really good ones and some horrifically awful ones. As for the TV show, it really is one of my all-time favourites. Personally, whether the games are bad or brilliant, I've always got some sort of enjoyment out of all of them. And that brings us to the game that we are looking at today. Now, as it's South Park on the PS1, there's only 3 games to choose from: South Park Rally, South Park, and Chef's Love Shack. I actually enjoyed all 3, so I just chose one at random and we're going to be looking at the game simply titled South Park. Developed by Iguana Entertainment, published by Acclaim, and ported to the PS1 by Appaloosa, South Park is a first-person shooter game based in the town of the same name. You get to control one of the 4 main characters from the show, Kyle, Stan, Kenny, and of course Cartman, as you go around annihilating anything that stands in your path. The story is simple but very fitting for the show at the time of release. There's a huge comet heading for Earth and South Park has been invaded by various enemies. Upon finding out about the town's impending doom from Chef, the boys decide to band together and investigate what is happening. You are equipped with various weapons throughout the game, such as dodgeballs, a sponge dart gun, a toilet plunger launcher, and the best weapon, snowballs. You are tasked with killing numerous enemies on each level, as well as stopping tank enemies from reaching a certain destination. Each level is ridiculously big for the time, not as big as Donald Trump's ego, but has anything ever even got close to that size? It's not easy to get lost or anything, and there are enough enemies to wipe out in each level that for me, it never got boring. The voices in the game are done by Trey Parker and Matt Stone, as well as others from the show, which helps add to the authenticity and immersion of the game. A lot of reviewers commented that the sound effects and voice clips can become annoying and repetitive, but fuck them. I can't get enough of all the shit that the characters shout out during gameplay. It's funny, and in my humble opinion, there's not enough comedy in video games, especially at the time. Also, making a game based on South Park that isn't funny would be as ridiculous as the old Ghostbusters games, not including Winston. He was one of the Ghostbusters, damn it! I will admit that the draw distance is laughable in this game and the controls can take a bit of getting used to, but these two things alone do not make for a bad game. Overall, this game gets a lot of hate, but if you're a huge fan of the show like I am, I'm sure there'll be more than enough to this game for you to get a lot of enjoyment from it. It's far from perfect, but it does not deserve some of the abysmal scores that some reviewers gave it. I mean, come on. 1.4 out of 10 from Jeff Gerstmann from GameSpot. That is just ridiculous. Shame on you, Jeff Gerstmann. The Simpsons. I think I can safely say that The Simpsons is my favourite show of all time. Apart from maybe Red Dwarf. Unlike most other people, I don't believe there's ever been a bad episode of The Simpsons, never mind a bad season. However, I cannot say the same about the video games. There have been some fantastic video games based on the Simpsons franchise. Games like The Simpsons Hit and Run, The Simpsons Road Rage and The Simpsons video game were all fantastic. But there have also been some real stinkers, like the one I'm going to take a very brief look at right now. Over the years there have been some truly abysmal Simpsons games, but I believe this is the worst. Now, I'm almost certain you know which game I'm going to cover here, as there was only one Simpsons game on the PS1, but here it is, The Simpsons Wrestling. Oh wow, this game is bad, like the Super Mario Bros. Movie bad. First off, you can't call this a wrestling game, it is far from that. It might be in a ring and you might be able to bounce off the ropes, but this cannot be considered a wrestling game. More of a crappy fighting game. I'm going to run through the issues quickly because I really don't want to spend too much time on this title. Playing it makes me cry and talking about it just feels wrong. The controls are shit. The hitboxes are awful. The graphics are on a level with Bubsy 3D and the sound effects are repetitive and grinding. One positive I am willing to say about this game is the voice clips. I do love listening to the various Simpsons characters taunting each other before the matches. It's just a shame that I can't stand to play this game for longer than one match. Stay away from this game. If you're a collector of PS1 games, maybe buy it to add to the collection, but everyone else should just stay away. Treat it like an unnamed virus and practice social distancing from this game. For the final game in this video, we're going to look at a really good one. Well, a really good one in my opinion. The final game is Bugs Bunny Lost in Time. Brought to us by the developers Behaviour Interactive and legendary publishers Infogrames, Bugs Bunny Lost in Time is a 3D platformer set in nowhere, the home of the sorcerer Merlin Monroe. Bugs ends up there after taking a wrong turn at Albuquerque on his way to Pismo Beach. The game includes 21 levels which are spread across 5 different areas. The 5 areas you get to play in are the Stone Age, the Pirate Years, the 1930s, Medieval Period, and Dimension X. The main aim of the game is to collect time clocks which enable you to travel to the different areas via the time machine. The first level, Nowhere, acts as the tutorial level. It teaches you all the moves you need to know to progress through the game. Let's be honest, you all know what a tutorial level is. Kinda pointless me explaining it to you. Almost as pointless as, well, you get it. Golden carrots act as a simple collectible, but the normal carrots act like the rings in the Sonic the Hedgehog games. Bugs can hold up to 99 normal carrots, and every time he gets hit, he drops 3. Drop all your carrots and you're as dead as Kevin Spacey's acting career. In my opinion, the graphics in this game are very impressive for the time. Each area is bright and colourful and accurately depicts the areas they are supposed to. The character models look ace and each character has lots of animation. The game controls well, very well in fact. It really is a joy to play and it still holds up today, which is more than can be said about many games from this era. Most games from the PS1 era have aged like Lindsay Lohan. Or well, me. Not very well at all. Just like each other game in this video, the sound clips of the characters speaking are excellent. The PlayStation era really was the era where voices in games were perfected. Probably down to the CD technology. Either that or I'm easily satisfied. Who knows? The voice actors clearly had to do some work on their trade in games like Resident Evil, but cartoon games were spot on. One of the things I really love about this game, and it's a small thing, an insignificant thing some might say, but it's the loading screens. They are like posters from some of the old school Bugs Bunny cartoon episodes, and I just love them. Bugs Bunny Lost in Time received some very poor reviews upon release, and I really don't know why. In my opinion, it's a fantastic, fun addition to the PS1 library. I would recommend it to anyone who enjoys a good 3D platformer. Cartoons have always had video games based on them, dating all the way back to the days of the ZX Spectrum and the Commodore 64. Personally, I think they peaked in the 8 and 16-bit era. However, there are still some very impressive games based on cartoons released even to this day. I hope you've enjoyed watching me take a look at games based on cartoons for the PlayStation 1. If you did enjoy this video, please consider subscribing to my channel and smashing that like button. And as always, keep on gaming.